Hello, this is Jill at Scrapbook Warehouse, and this week we'll be doing backgrounds using stencils. I'm placing my stencil on top of a watercolor panel. I'm just trying to figure out how much of the stencil I need to apply my ink to. Because the stencil is so intricate and has a lot of openings, I have to be very careful how I put my ink down, and I lay the ink down by pouncing or pushing my mini blending tool into the stencil rather than using a circular motion like we normally do. I put down about an inch of each color, making sure that I overlap them a little bit. Then with a spray bottle, I give it 6 to 8 sprays, fairly close, but I should have done a few more because as you'll see in a little bit, I didn't have enough liquid and my colors did not blend as much as I wanted to. Once the wet stencil is placed on top of the panel, it's just a matter of giving it a little bit of pressure and a little bit of time for the ink to transfer. It's a good time now to dab off with a cloth any excess liquid and put it aside to dry. Now we can move on to die cutting the oval panel and the word U. I use watercolor to die cut because I wanted them to be a little sturdier because I was going to pop them up. My panel was not quite dry, so I used a heat gun to really dry it up, and I decided to right away put my panel onto my card base and have that done. Then I could move on to finish off the other panel and the stamping. I fiddled around a little bit with the placement because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to copy exactly what I had done earlier or whether I wanted to do something a little bit different, but I ended up doing it fairly similar. Once the panel was marked and cut, I could go on to my stamping. The stamp I'm using actually says "You are the best," and because I already die cutted the word "you," you'll see me right here remove the ink from "you," so that word does not transfer onto my stamped area. Now it's time to add some ink to our word "you," and because my later panel is so much greener than the first one, I decided to do less blue on the word and do more of the green. So you'll see me change the colors a little bit here. Once I had applied the green, I decided to go back in and do a little bit more of the blue to make it blend a little bit better. And then of course we need a little shine. So Wing of Stella, just a clear, is usually a great way to add a little bit of shine to whatever. And it does not add texture, it's just a nice plain shine. And I did at least 2 or 3 layers of it, and also I cleaned my tip quite often because the ink was transferring. I then added some antique linen to the front oval. I wanted the edges to be much darker, so I'm putting more pressure on the edges, and then as I go on the inside or in the middle, I'm putting very little pressure, even wiping off my mini blending tool just to make sure I don't get too much ink in the middle. Now to finish off the card, we simply have to put all the pieces together. I wanted to pop up the panels, so I'm using the 3D foam, but I should have used strips of it. It would have been way faster for me. When I put the panel down, I moved it up a little bit just to hide where I had some colors that got a little bit muddy. I didn't want that to show. Then I use removable dots to attach the word "you" to the panel. And using tweezers certainly helps with the placement if you're not sure on what angle you want to put it before you actually adhere it down. And I always use an acrylic block to push everything down so I don't get inks on my fingers. To finish the card, I'll be adding some sequins, and usually I use multimedia glue for this, but today for some reason I grabbed the glossy accents, so I've got to really be careful not to put too much down because it will, as it dries, will be glossy while the multimedia dries totally clear and doesn't show. That's just something to be careful of. Here again I use my acrylic block to push everything down into place and make sure that it's glued down properly. Well, thank you for visiting with us today. I hope you enjoyed what we made. And for more inspiration, please see our website at scrapbookwarehouse.com.